Hello my fellow gamers and welcome once again to Perafilozof City Skylines. In this episode I will continue reworking the original city design that I had made in the previous episodes. In the episode just before this one I had to redo a lot of the roads that are in between these two parts of the city. I had added a lot of these cross streets to take the traffic between them, and also cross streets between the right and the left side of the new part of the city, which are now bustling with a lot of traffic. Now, this isn't the end. I have just remade these streets. There's a lot of tweaking to be done afterward, but I also need to tweak my city's transportation system, or should I say the public transportation system. The buses and the metro lines that I have made previously have shown not to be used very often. I only have about 2000 Cims using the buses and 1000 using the metros, even though I thought that this network is extensive enough, but it seems I was wrong. A lot of my subscribers have noticed this during the last few episodes, and I have decided to, after doing the roads in the previous episode, that this episode needs to concentrate on tearing down these old lines and creating something that's going to be actually useful for the city. Now, I had forgotten to connect the incinerators after moving them to the water supply. I had fixed that before I started making this video, so if you had caught that in the last video, you now know that I had fixed it. Now, first thing I need to do a quick save before I start bulldozing all these. Well, do you even call it bulldozing? I think it's just called deleting lines. I need to delete all the bus lines and the metro lines that I have previously made, add a lot more bus stops, metro lines, to allow for these lines to be better at carrying the teams around and giving them more options to travel through the city. I need to somehow get a lot more usage out of the public transportation system so that I would have far fewer Cims blocking the streets like they are at the moment. You can see here this is all clogged up with Cims because they're trying to go from one part of the city to the other. I know that I haven't let the city run enough time for this to clear up after changing all these roads, but I do need to pause the game while I am creating the bus stations, bus lines and the metro lines. I will start off first with the metro lines because I need to add a lot more stations. Now, the reason why in the previous episode I have kept my metro stations on the edges is because I was trying to avoid their noise pollution, because you probably have noticed in some of the episodes I had Sims that were actually sick from noise pollution in one of the homes that was here. So I had decided to keep the metro lines as far away from them as I can. But during the later videos you saw that my usage of my highway system, my bus and metro system was very low, so it meant that placing the bus stops in those areas was not the right call. So I am now changing that to try and get better usage for my public transportation systems, and hopefully that should reduce the overload traffic that is inside the city at the moment. Now I need to start off with this part, as the teams do like to go to shopping in other parts of the city, to schools in other parts of the city, to even parks in other parts of the city, and of course to work in other parts of the city. Even unemployed seems like to go even from here to up here. Now, because of that problem with noise pollution, I will try to keep the metro stations as close to the industry and far away from the offices and residential areas. The commercial areas are fine to have metros because they produce the noise pollution themselves. Let's see how is the current system running. So I have this one here and this one here, and that's everything that's down here. So I need to add at least 3 down here in these areas. Now in here I do have more residential areas, and like I said, I'm trying to avoid placing the metro lines in the residential areas, so we'll try to keep them away from the centers where I have a lot of residents, and try and find a spot where I could have it close to the commercial sectors. Now, because this is all now high density residential, it's gonna produce a lot of teams who will want to move around, and these homes here are just a low density. They do not produce a lot of teams. I will tear down this area here, remove these zones, add a little bit more commercial areas here, like this, and then in here I will place the metro stop. Now that's one. I need several more. This one here is at a good distance from this one, so I should probably make a new one about here, somewhere where there's good connections. For example, here. It may be a little bit close to the offices, but it needs to be because the workers need to get to their jobs. Let's say over here. What I will also need to do is to place bus stops very close to the metro stations so that Cims could move between the two public transportation options. Now, as this is the second one, I also need a third somewhere around here, and there's already a lot of commercial areas and the industry here, so let's say I place the metro stop here. I will do the same in the rest of the city, because this would probably take a long time to plot it all in a video. I will just rewind you to the moment when I'm done placing all the metro stops. Alright, so now I have added a lot of these metro stations, and I have connected them in different ways in different parts of the city. For example, here I have stations that are in the middle, connected in four places to the stations on the either side of them. While on this side I have these squares with these stations in the middle, are connected to these stations in these left and right sides by these little forks. While up here I have both sides of the city connected through stations that are spaced in between each other and connected differently. They are sometimes spaced in a triangle, sometimes in a square, sometimes in a line. I did this because I want to see how different ways of connecting them and placing stations will affect the traffic from the metros themselves. Now, I think I saw something telling me that I have power disconnected somewhere, but as far as I can see, all the places that require power are connected. So maybe a single house or something wasn't connected properly, but the rest of it seems to be connected properly. Where was I? Yep, with the what do we have here? To low land value. Well, of course it's low land value, but it is here on the edge. So that was a bad place to zone it. I'll just dezone this part. Yeah, these are probably gonna have low land value as well, but nothing I can do about that at the moment. This area will need a lot of restructuring as it is. Now, when I was talking about the stations, I have connected them. Now the question is, how do I make lines in between them? Now, like I said in my previous videos, I'm not that professional with the connections, and I have also seem to have forgotten to connect these areas between each other. So you can see how do I connect them in action. I see that, for example, I should have a connection here, and that there should be a connection here as well. One over here, one here, and this is already connected. As we're saying, how do I connect this lines themselves? Now, if you try and connect a lot of lines that are going to go throughout the city, you have a problem with trying to actually place stops on the metro stations themselves, because they kind of seem to go on top of each other. Check this out. For example, if I draw this one here, and then I try to draw another one, it's right here. And if I want a third one, let's say this one goes here. If I want to have a third station, now it's here, and it becomes almost impossible to actually click in between all of these. You see, even if I want to, it becomes impossible to click on more than 2 or 3. I can't even click on it. So my idea is, instead of having metro lines that are going to go on top of each other, that it may be a better idea to have small lines that are going to connect a few stations, and then have a line that connects that area through itself, then have another area that's connected like a few stations to each other, and then a small connection between them. And that way, if you want to go, for example, from a line that is over here, you go to an edge of it that is connected by a new line to the next area, you go into the next area, from there you go into the next, and so on and so forth, and you reach the area down here going through different lines. I'm not sure, does that influence the usage of the metros somehow? I will have to see it in action to be sure what's going to happen. So let me just show you how I'm going to start, and then I'll just jump to when I'm done. So I go through here into this one, then I go into this one, then into this one, and then go back here. So this is like a small line made out of 4 stations. Now I go here and change its color. For example, I go with red, and then in the next area I have a blue, then in the next red, blue, red, blue, and for example then I can use green color to connect in the next area. So it would go like this. This is the red one. Now this one would be a blue line, and because this station now is going to be the same for both of these lines, I don't really have to use a new line to connect these two. So the Cims should be able to go through this station and switch into this line. But for example, if I have a new line here that starts off from here, goes here, then here, into this one, into this one. Aha, I would go through here again. Alright, so this one would now be red, and it would also have a connection between these two. So there is a red and a blue stop here. So you see now how that would go. But for example, if I need to have them separated somehow, for example, if up here I were to go with a stop that goes from here into here into here and then back on itself, this area and this one would not have a connection. But if I were to make a new line that would just go from this stop to this one, and then connect into this one and back to nope, that wouldn't work. It will have to go here. Then this line would connect the previous two. So the small one here can be red again, and the one connecting them can stay green. So that is 2 ways in which I connect these areas with small lines that would connect up to each other. Now we'll do this for the rest of the city. There we go, I've mostly finished it up. There are blue and red lines on these edges. Between them there are sometimes green lines connecting them, while there is a long yellow line here in the middle which is connecting the left and right sides of the city. So I think that should allow for a good amount of Cims to hop the different connections. There are still some places where I do have connections stretched out because there are simply too many tunnels to draw so many lines. I could add some more as the city grows and there are necessary to be connections between this and maybe next part of the city. I need to do the same thing for the buses. One bus depot, like I told you before, is enough. But I need bus stops, for example, in this part of the city, in this part of the city, then interconnected, then in this one, then in this one, interconnected, and a bus line that would connect these two areas as well. Alright, so the bus lines are now completed as well. I've left them as blue. There is one in this area, another one in this area, another one here, and another one here. I think I even had a leftover from before one dark bus line here. I think this is the one. Let me just, here it is. How do I capture it? The inside line 3, which is one of the smallest ones, so I will delete that one. And there is also just one line that's connecting everything. It even uses the highway to go from one area to the other. It goes like this. For now, I will leave it as I am still changing the roads. So we'll leave it like this and see how this functions. And of course, this will take a lot more tweaking. Now, as I'm running out of time for this video, I know it's a short one, but I just haven't had the time to do too much work on this. I will be expanding down here as I am now at 3% unemployment, and if I want more people to move in, I need to give them more jobs. This is the area that has been set to be commercial, which means that after this I should have industry. But which industry depends on what I see here. I see that I'm not exporting any goods, but that I'm importing goods, which means that I should have generic industry here. So I could go with one area of generic industry like this, and then a road in between. And then another row of generic industry after that. Now the streets that are here are the exits, the ramps. So this one needs to go like this. While over here on this side I hadn't raised any streets up into the highway. This is the exiting highway. Now what I could have done on some places is this, and given them a ramp, but like I said, I haven't yet figured out exactly how I want the system to work out. But let's say I try this out here and see how that looks like after a while, and how the traffic takes to having a ramp like this. Exactly the same I could do here and see how the traffic responds to having a ramp to go that way. This could be connected here, but it will delete this thing. I could move that a little bit up to the side, I think, and then connect it back into here. Alright, maybe a bit too high. But now it will work. Alright, this area here will have water. As for power, I am kinda reaching the maximum. The metro stations do cost a lot in the power, in the megawatts department, and if I want to expand on this area with more industry, I need to increase my power supply. Now the traffic is still kinda stuck in these areas here, because it has yet to move around after I have deleted all those connections that were here before. I wanted to see how many buses would this be. 146 buses, 147, and this is maybe even going up as they keep coming out from here. Now they've all set up shop here, it seems. I'm not entirely sure what they're doing. They're going back in and out. Maybe they are getting repainted for the new lines. I guess this will also take some time to fix itself up. This could be a reason why you could have two bus depots if half of them would go to one and half of them to the other when you have remade the bus lines. It is an interesting occurrence. I haven't really seen this happen before. In the areas down here, I have had zoned more high density residential, but it has yet to grow up to full buildings. And the unemployment is still at only 3%. My seniors are down to 17%, as I did have that grand wave of dying off. So that wasn't actually so much because of the traffic and the hearses being stuck in the traffic. It seems more about the seniors dying, as they do develop kind of slowly compared to if I were to play without recording. It does end up some of the areas with a lot of elderly people that die at the same time. Now this new area will need to be an industrial zone, so need to reduce the previous zone and create a new one for the industry, like so. And of course, you now probably know by which policies I'm going to run these areas: industrial space planning and the smoke detector distribution, because this is industry and I expect them to get on fire far more often than any other type of buildings. Now I will have a lot more of these areas dinging and leveling up because I have so much more public transportation for them now, and it is expected that they will level up far easily now that they have more services, as public transportation is counted as a service. What happened here? Nobody collected dead people, and there's the hearse. A bit too late, my friends. I did fill up the cemetery up here, and now I have to empty it. And like I said before, I will need more services here, so I will need to add some more stuff here as well. But before I do, I will do this zone of commercial and then have roads here so that I can have services on these roads. Here I would need a new clinic, I believe, a new crematorium, and a new fire station. As for the schools, I perhaps could need another elementary here if I expand with residential area down here, and even a high school, as these areas have very little education, as it seems. So a high school would go about here, like this, and an elementary school would go here. So this would be like a service hub. I might even need some new parks here. Yep, and it could go right here, and that should cover this zone compared to this park here, and in the intersection between those parks I should have good coverage. For some reason on the left I don't have that good of a coverage compared on the right side, which is kind of interesting. I have to see what's up with that. In any event, like I said, that's all the time that I have for this video. The traffic, I'm not sure, is it clearing up yet? The buses seem to have moved away from the bus depot. There's still a lot of traffic here because they're trying to go from these streets into these streets and that are going to connect into the other parts of the city. And that will probably require some more management as soon as the traffic normalizes and accepts all the changes that I have previously made. It will probably take some time for this to show the correct amount of people using the public transportation. It's now up to 1,380 per week for the buses, 1,577 for the metros, but I think that will change, and I will also be tweaking the stations. Well, that would be all for this video. I thank you for watching, and I will see you again very soon.